The Richard Sherman podcast on PFF is brought to you by SuperDraft Fantasy. They created a fantasy game for all of us. To all my PFF community, listen up. Player props are now available, and you can win up to 20 times your entry. Put your parlays together for all kinds of sports. I'm taking it to another level. I want to hook you up when you play. Double your deposit now. Get a $10 bonus when you deposit 10 using the code PFF at registration. Just download SuperDraft and start playing now. They're even hooking you up with a free PFF Elite for a month or half of your annual subscription. Just download the SuperDraft app on the App or Play Store. Use the code PFF when you create an account. Deposit $10, and we'll match it with another $10. The offer is only eligible for new accounts. SuperDraft paid fantasy contests are available in 34 U.S. states. Must be 18 or older to play. Contests in most states. Visit superdraft.io for all eligibility restrictions.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. Don't you ever talk about me. Picked off. It is Richard Sherman. It's picked off by Sherman. Now, buckle up. Here he goes. And it is intercepted by Richard Sherman. Broken up. Picked off. This game is over.
Well, it's the Richard Sherman podcast. Back at it again with my guy, Mitch Eisenstein. Oh, man. Draft time. Draft time. Draft time. It's going to get crazy.
Richard, I was just invited to a nice, one of my high school alumni dinners on Thursday night, and I told my buddy there's 0% chance I will be in attendance at that. This is my all-time favorite day of the year, the NFL draft. Dude, mock drafts are swirling, and now the Vegas odds to go number one have shifted, and it's our boy, I guess, Travon Walker out of nowhere. Talk to me about him.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. It's measurables. It's potentials. It's people projecting what he's going to be. And he could be a 100-sack, another guy who adds to the 100-sack club. But he hasn't shown that yet. You know, he's shown the potential to be dominant and disruptive at times. But consistently, I mean, 6 sacks, he had 19 solo tackles. You already brought that up, Mitch. Like, I don't know what they're seeing. You know, Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeaux seemed like no-brainers for the whole year. It was like no need to even talk about anything. Now we're talking about Travon Walker. We're talking about Ickey. They're talking about Sauce Gardner going top three. Like it's the least predictable, but they're saying it's the least exciting draft since '88.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of randomness at the top, right? I mean, I can't remember the last draft where it's not been a surefire number one, right? And yet here we are with that exact scenario. I mean, Travon Walker was considered a fringe first-round pick, and now he's climbed all the way up to number one after running a 4.51 at the combine. But Rich, I mean, I feel like one of your favorite taglines is "a rising tide raises all the ships." You know, this Georgia defense was historically one of the best ever in college football, if not the best ever. I mean, what do you make of it? Playing alongside the likes of Jordan Davis and the Kobe Dean and Lewis Cine, and they got these studs up and down the roster. If you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, what makes you say this is our guy?
I don't know. I mean, you have Josh Allen. You want to inject more pass rushing in there, but you also want to get some protection for this quarterback that you just got. So I would say you got to go with Ickey, and then that would be a more predictable draft. You go Ickey, you get that left tackle spot solidified, let him grow with his quarterback, you get him some protection. Then you see Aiden Hutchinson stay in the state of Michigan and go to Detroit. And then I think the draft becomes more predictable. But if you go with Travon Walker at 1, things get out of hand. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson could still stay in Michigan at 2, but who knows what happened with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Sauce Gardner after that? Do the Texans want to go with pass rush help? Are they expecting him to be there? Like, they're saying there are not a lot of kids, not a lot of teams with more than 15 prospects with first-round grades. That's insane. It seems everybody's looking to trade back. They're saying between 2 and 6, there's a ton of kids that have between second and 6th-round grades. But only 15 or 14 have first-round grades. That's why people aren't as high on this draft. I don't know, man. I don't think Jacksonville needs to try to get cute because I don't think that helps you as much as a left tackle helps you.
Well, I'll say this, Rich, as a Detroit Lion homegrown fan, I was kind of fired up to see the news that Walker is projected to go to number 1. And this is coming from a Michigan State alum. You know, I would love nothing more than to see the University of Michigan Wolverines lose every single game. But having seen the havoc that Aiden Hutchinson wreaked on every single opponent that he faced, I mean, the guy's got a motor. Like, yeah, he's got short arms. So what? I mean, the guy has a tenacious motor. He's a game changer. I mean, in the game, you know, Michigan State, Michigan, he had a strip sack. You know, he was all over the field. I mean, Georgia game planned against him really well. They got the ball out quick. And I think that teams all of a sudden said, oh, well, he can't do it against elite competition. But I don't know, man. Not to mention he's from my hometown, Rich. So, like, you got to give the guy props there. You know, so the top of this draft is an odd one, is a very, very odd one. And we're going to see guys, you know, slip and slide all over there. So, you know, you're talking about the cornerback position as well. Now there's rumors everywhere that Houston Texans favor Derek Stingley. Guy hasn't done anything since his freshman year. And he's projected now over our guy, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, who I know you love. If you're in that position, who do you take, Sauce or Stingley?
And I still take Sauce. You know, I think he's been more consistent. You know, obviously Stingley's played in a tougher conference. He's played I mean, you looking at his 2019 tape, if you showed that and that was his 2021 tape, he'd be arguably the number 1 pick in his draft. You'd be fighting for him. You'd be like, hey, I don't see why you're not picking this kid 1. But the rest of his tape had not looked like that. I mean, he's tackling. So a lot of the questions that people have I don't have. You know, I don't have questions about his tackling or his willingness or his ball skills or his coverage or his speed or his athleticism. Can he stay on the field? You know, that's a huge thing in the league. You're playing corner. If you can't stay on the field, I mean, you're not going to be able to help your team. And corner is a spot that never comes off the field. You never come off the field. You're playing 100% of the snaps every time. I mean, maybe goal line situations, you're slowing it down. I mean, you're not in on those goal line situations unless a receiver's in. But I'm not seeing a time where if you're missing so much time in the last 2 years that I'm confident to say, hey, this is going to be our guy, and I'm taking him top 5. Like, and I feel like something crazy is going to happen in this draft. I feel like Pittsburgh has spent too much time with Malik Willis to not be in a position to draft Malik Willis. I think they're going to put themselves in position. Obviously, Carolina Panthers are going to be early in this draft. I think they're at 6, and they're going to pick a quarterback. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're not sitting back and waiting. At least I don't think you are. But I don't know the kind of draft capital they have to be able to trade up that far in the draft. Like, what are you getting rid of to move up that far? You know,
they're getting rid of their future. I mean, honestly, the Steelers are probably in a better position to wait and see what happens with Baker Mayfield and then jump on him. But I know Cleveland's not going to want to give that to a division rival. So the likelihood of him getting cut seems pretty minimal. But you brought up the quarterbacks in this draft class. You know, everyone said this is a historically bad draft class. I know some scouts and analysts said that last year up to Davis Mills, you know, every quarterback of this draft would slot below Davis Mills of this draft. And that just goes to show you, like, how bad, I guess, this draft class is at the quarterback position. Yet I also don't starting to fall for Malik Willis. Like, you tell me, Rich.
I don't always trust the analytics. I don't always trust these guys, these scouts, these anonymous sources. I don't always trust that because they get it wrong a lot. I mean, if you're talking about guys, no matter what people say, Tom Brady went 6th round. Like, you know what I mean?
I had like a 7th round grade on you, Rich. So you want
that's what I'm saying, Mitch. And you were closer than most. You were closer than most. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, do you have to trust the tape or do you trust what the people say? Because they're like, oh, this guy has the potential to do this. Oh, this guy, just like with Trayvon Walker. Like, hey, he has the potential to be an all-pro. But what's his ceiling? What's showing you that it's ceiling? Is it his measurables? Is it a few splash plays here and there? What exactly are you looking at? Because there are guys with more production that they aren't as high on. You know, all the questions about Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm trying to understand. Like, you're saying he has an attitude or he's too smart. He's too this. Can he play or can he not play? Is he going to be an issue in the locker room? Is he going to be a good teammate? Is he going to be able to grasp the concepts that you're going to give him and learn defense and be an effective playmaker? If those answers are yes, I don't understand how he gets out of the top 3. And so I think you start to see people create stories and narratives all the time. You hear the late narrative that they're creating about Malik Willis about, oh, he's not a quarterback, he's a running back, he touched the ball, he doesn't get past his first read. You literally always hear that at the end with black quarterbacks, literally every single time, except with like Deshaun Watson is one of the ones where I think they kept it straight, and him and Cam had the freaking best college season, I think one of the best college seasons in the history of football. But I don't know if I put a lot of strength on what these scouts are saying these days, because they're getting it wrong too often.
Right. And then you have some of the top minds that are saying that, there's going to be a trade into the top 10 to get this kid. So obviously somebody likes Malik Willis, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him go 6 overall to the Panthers, or like you said, a big time trade down the pipeline. Now let's talk about a little prospective trade with one of your former teammates for the 49ers, Deebo Samuel. His name's been in the headline quite a bit. The likelihood of him getting traded before the draft, gets slimmer by the day, but Rich, do you have any insight to what's really going on in that situation? Why would he want out of San Fran?
I have not talked to him. I have not talked to John or Kyle or anybody. Being in that locker room, being in that environment, I can't see them letting him walk. I can't see them trading him away. I can't see him doing anything but lining up for the San Francisco 49ers and playing football. Now, could I see them using him less in the backfield? 100%. I can see them not using him on as many jet sweeps and things of that nature. He wants to just play receiver. But I can also see him being the competitor that he is, getting in the middle of the season and being like, hey, I want the ball more. And they're like, hey, you limited us. You told us not to give you the ball in these situations. So what do you want us to do? And then he goes back into that role, especially once he's gotten his life-changing payday. Do I think that Prague and some of the tactics that he uses to negotiate may have rubbed Deebo and other people the wrong way? I'm sure. I think he thinks his value is somewhere, and I think 49ers agree about his value. But I think throughout the negotiation process, there's haggling, there's back and forth. And I think he's taking that a little bit more personal than other people have. I think now it's getting silly. It's getting silly because every Instagram post, everything he does, where he's driving, where he's working out, where he's eating dinner, I mean, people are scrutinizing every single thing he does, and I think people need to relax. Like, he's under contract. If anything, the 49ers will franchise tag him 3 times and still probably not get to the number that he wants to get to initially.
Do you think any of this has to do with him coming to the realization that Jimmy G is not going to be throwing him the football? It's going to be Trey Lance?
I think very little. I think because it's not like he had a bad, like, he played a lot of games with Trey Lance, and it was just like he wasn't effective or he wasn't getting the ball. It wasn't like they played half a season and all of a sudden his numbers were skewed a different way. I think obviously he's friends with Jimmy G, has a great relationship with him, and it's unfair to a degree how Jimmy's getting treated. It's not, people are crapping on Jimmy every day. They're like, get rid of him, do this, trade him, do this. And it's like, I mean, almost no appreciation at all for the guy when he did make plays, and the guy who helped lead your team to the NFC Championship. It's like somebody had to be at the helm, and a lot of mistakes can be made at the helm and lead to your team not making it to the position they were in last year. And sure, did he play every game perfect? No, he did not. But was he effective? And did he make plays when they were needed? Did he take them down on a 2-minute drill for the Rams game, the last game of the season, with everything on the line and execute at a high level? He did. And I think it's some of the fans, you know what I mean? I think it's some of the stuff the fans are saying. I think anytime you acknowledge what the fans are saying and say, oh man, that doesn't bother me, it's letting them know it bothers you. It's letting them know that it's getting to you. But it's sometimes people's like greatest strength of, I just want to cheer for my guy, and I'm so passionate about the 49ers, can be your biggest weakness, because you're sitting there telling him that he's not a person and you only care about him when he's doing what you want, instead of saying, hey, we support you either way, Deebo, you deserve to get your money, and leave it at that. You don't need to come at it, his character, you don't need to come at it personally, because when you start to do that, the human element of a person says, these people don't appreciate me.
Well, Richard, in the mind of a competitor, right, and this is some insight that only few have, and you're certainly somebody that has that insight. You know, I remember us talking years ago about Odell Beckham Jr., and you said this kid is just built different. The way he gets in and out of his cuts, you know, his route tree is just ridiculous, and his top end speed is next level. It was kind of, we had that same conversation when you first got to the 49ers and Debo was drafted, and you said this kid is an animal. Like, he's different. People are going to see a whole different level of a wide receiver when you see him play. And I felt like last year was the really first year where it was like his true coming out party, you know, and he kind of took the league by storm. It was kind of that Steph Curry effect where he reinvented the position of wide receiver. He became that dynamic playmaker that could line up anywhere on the field. With someone like that, why would he come to the 49ers and say, I don't want to be that guy. I just want to be a wideout? Why would he say, I don't want the ball in my hands in certain positions?
Because because there's a different beating you take. Like, people are like, man, look how tough he is. Like, look at those big runs, all the tackles he's breaking. He still feels it. He's still a human being. He still has bruises on his back, on his shoulder, on his neck. Like, he still feels every blow he takes. And as a receiver, you're not taking that many blows. You shouldn't be taking that many blows that consistently. Like, Debo's fighting for extra yards. He's doing everything he can because he's a competitor and he wants to help his team win. But most receivers, you see catch the ball and I'm out of bounds or I'm to the ground. Like, hey, I got as much as I could. I'm on the ground. He's not doing that. He's not playing like that. He's playing to say, hey, give me the ball. I'm going to give my team everything I got and get as much as I can. And that's why I think the disrespect hurts so much, because he's like, hey, I played through injury. I gave you guys, when you guys needed it, I showed up in the biggest games in the biggest way. You gave me the ball when everybody knew I was getting the ball, and I still made it happen for you. Now make it happen for me. Show me the same loyalty and strength and belief and faith that I showed you. Like, believe in him. And I think the things about him getting the ball in those situations is, like, he's not a running back. Like, Elijah Mitchell's a running back. Raheem was the running back. Like, they have running backs. He's not a running back. He doesn't need to take those hits as consistently. You don't see other receivers taking as many hits as him. And everybody's like, oh, he breaks the most tackles. Well, he probably takes the most hits of everybody as well.
Richard, you are John Lynch. You are forced to trade Debo Samuel before this draft. What is the minimum draft compensation you are taking in a trade for Debo Samuel?
I'm taking a first in the top 10 and a player that's made a Pro Bowl.
Robert Saleh calls with the Jets. They have 2 picks in the top 10. 4 and 10. Do you think that they're a potential trade partner? Would that be a good landing spot?
You give me 4 and 10? He'd be there the next day. He'd be on the flight that day. I mean, if that's what we're doing. But if you're not giving me that, then you're not taking him. You know what I mean? Because there's value in, hey, I'm going to have rookie contracts versus I'm about to have to pay this man $30 million a year. And it's like, hey, I got 2 valuable rookies and I'll have them on rookie contracts with 5-year options for a while. But I also have a known commodity that I know our offense is built around.
Right.
I don't know if you let that go unless it's something that is like groundbreaking.
Well, we've seen 2 monster trades this offseason with Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. You know, I mean, that's kind of the standard that it's been set. But in my mind, Debo should be worth more than that. I mean, he's younger. He's, in my opinion, more versatile. And can be a guy that can go to the Jets and be on their timeline of winning within the next 5 years. So I don't know. I think the floor is what Tyreek Hill or the Chiefs got for Tyreek Hill. I would expect them to get more than that, though. And I think I'm aligned with your mindset as a top 10 pick.
But I also think if you're Kyle Shanahan, you never let that happen. Like, no. He calls you and says, hey, we're trading Debo Samuel. I hang up the phone and you've lost your mind. Because
trade me too. I'm going with them.
Trade me too, because you're going to be trading him to Salah and LaFleur to get him used exactly how he's being used now. Now, will they use him as effectively? Do they have enough weapons? Do they have enough offensive line firepower to get done what Kyle's getting done? I don't know. But I think Kyle believed in him more than anybody else coming in. You know, when he was coming out of college, there wasn't a lot of guys saying, oh, we're going to take Debo Samuel. Kyle would have took him in the first. Kyle loved him from the beginning, from the Senior Bowl when they coached him. And I think this goes deeper than that. I think this goes deeper than just, hey, this is a player that's playing for this organization. I think Kyle has a rapport and relationship with him, and obviously his business right now. It's out of Kyle's hands to some degree, but I don't think he's going to sign off on the trade.
And what's interesting about that take, Rich, is we've seen the wide receiver position become a premium this offseason, So I think GMs are getting sick and tired of missing on guys like Devo and DK Metcalf and folks like that are going second, third round. I mean, shoot, even Amon-Ra St. Brown last year with the Lions, so you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see a lot of wide receivers go early in this draft, and maybe that's the draft surprise we see. Richard, let's wrap this up. But before we do, I want you to give me your top three. Give me your draft prediction as it stands with the Jags, Lions, and Houston.
It's hard because I still see Icky going first. I think if I'm Jacksonville Jaguars, I take Icky first. I take Aiden second if I'm Detroit. Or if you're feeling crazy, you take Sauce. Another homegrown kid, but I think Aiden has more immediate impact in terms of, because pass rush is always, at a premium. Playing corner, you can lock down a guy and play good defense, but if they're bombing you everywhere else, it doesn't help as much. But I think that I don't see Sauce getting out of the top 5. I think the Giants have 2 picks early on, and I think he goes to the Giants. I think that the Houston Texans take Kayvon Thibodeau, and they're freaking grateful for it because he could have easily went number 1. I think Evan Neal goes 5.
I think the Giants would be jumping for joy, So, Richard, this is about to be a very, very interesting next 72 hours. We're going to see what happens, and we're going to certainly get a little recap of the draft after it's over. But in the meantime, it has been real and it's been fun. We've got Sky Moore on with us next, Western Michigan University standout wide receiver.
Appreciate you joining us, Mitch. I can't wait to have Sky on, man. He's super confident. He's a big-time playmaker, and can't wait to see him do well in the league. He's going to be fun conversation.
The Richard Sherman podcast on PFF is brought to you by SuperDraft Fantasy. They created a fantasy game for all of us. To all my PFF community, listen up. Player props are now available, and you can win up to 20 times your entry. Put your parlays together for all kinds of sports. I'm taking it to another level. I want to hook you up when you play. Double your deposit now. Get a $10 bonus when you deposit 10 using the code PFF at registration. Just download SuperDraft and start playing now. They're even hooking you up with a free PFF Elite for a month or half of your annual subscription. Just download the SuperDraft app on the App or Play Store. Use the code PFF when you create an account, deposit $10, and we'll match it with another $10. The offer is only eligible for new accounts. SuperDraft paid fantasy contests are available in 34 U.S. states. Must be 18 or older to play. Contests in most states. Visit superdraft.io for all eligibility restrictions.
All right, welcome. You know what time it is. It's time for the SuperDraft over-under, formerly the SuperDraft Super 15 contest. Hawks, Trae Young, over or under 25.5 versus the Heat. Trae Young, it's an elimination game. I need it out of you. He's going to be over 25.5. He better be, or they're going home. Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, over or under 23.5 versus the Grizzlies. Anthony Edwards has been showing up, dunking on people, hitting threes, but I don't see him going over 23.5 versus the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies need this game. The series is tied 2-2. John Morant and the boys, hungry, ready to go. I got him under. Chris Paul, over or under 21.5 versus the Pelicans. He had 4 points last game. It's hard for me to say he's going to be over 21.5. So I got him under.
Yeah, I don't blame you there at all. It's amazing to see what the Pelicans are doing. You're full court pressing them. Alvarado and Herb Jones just giving them a lot of trouble. I'm with you on that under of Chris Paul, Rich. As far as Anthony Edwards goes, that kid is an absolute stud, rising star in this league. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. This is their time to shine, man. The Timberwolves have shown up and showed out these last, ever since the playing game, and we've seen a different sense of energy. I think Patrick Beverley adds a lot to that team. I'm going to say over. Anthony Edwards over 23.5. And then finally, Trae Young over under 25.5. Man, the way the Heat have been playing him defensively, switching, putting Bam on him, putting Jimmy Butler on him. I know he's got to get the win tonight, but I don't think he does it, man. The Heat have really impressed me as well. They've proven to be worthy of the 1 seed. I'm going to go under 25.5.
Sounds good. Looks like another win for me. I appreciate you, Mitchell. Appreciate you working with me. You know, we're on the same team at this point.
We just got to get back to football season so I can get back to beating your ass, man. I don't know about this basketball stuff.
No. We're in the perfect place. The place where you're taking an L a week. And if you guys get on the app, download the Super Draft app, use the promo code PFF for the first $5 contest free, no credit card required. Offer only eligible for new accounts. Get on here. Let me know your picks. Slide in the DM. Hit us a tweet. Either way, let us know your picks. See you next week. We back on the Richard Sherman podcast. We got a special guest, Sky Moore, receiver out of Western Michigan. You know, you hear about Drake London. You hear about Chris Olave, but you were the highest graded receiver out of college football last year. Tell me about yourself.
Really, yeah. Just I feel like that's just the product of me just putting the detail into my work and just being able to go out there and execute everything. You know, our game plan.
Oh, so you out there game planning like that?
Yeah. You know, I do everything with some intent.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Walk me through, because when you came out, you was like a quarterback and a DB, and then you get to college and they move you to the wideout spot, and you all conference in your first year. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so as in high school, I was a quarterback and played corner. I got all my offers as a corner though, and you know, I didn't have too many. I had a lot of offers, but didn't have too many big ones. So it came down to like Rice, Western Michigan, and Buffalo. Ended up going to Western Michigan. Was still committed as a corner. Then one of their star receiver, Jaden Reed, he transferred to Michigan State. So they was like, we needed a receiver. And they was like, Sky, we're going to try you a receiver for the beginning of camp. And, you know, I never looked back.
You must have ate. Ate.
I started going crazy.
Yeah. I ain't mad at that. So how does it make you feel? Because you didn't go to a big Power 5 school, so you're not getting the kind of love them other dudes getting. You know what I mean? I know that kind of put a chip on your shoulder. I mean, stuff like that kind of pissed me off in general.
Yeah. It's really just, that's what it is. It's just like, it's a built-in chip on my shoulder that I can't even, people, like coming from a conference like me, like a MAC conference or even like a Conference USA, you just have that chip just knowing like you're considered a lower level.
Right. But that don't stop you, because once you get on the field, once you get to the league, everybody's equal. You get the rock. You get to do whatever you can do with it. And they did a great job of getting you to rock in different situations, but it looked like you ate off slant routes on the backside all the time. It was like that was your bread and butter.
That was like our only route. It was like that's the only thing we ran. We really ran one play. If you boil down to one play, different formations. Right.
Y'all RPO slant. Put you in the slot, slant. I'm like, okay. You ran a few outs and a few slot fades, but your QB wasn't always, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But that's cool, man. But what you looking forward to, you know, going into the league? You know, obviously you excited, you know, going into the draft, but you're excited to play against any of these corners, to just compete against, you know, the best of the best, so people can't have that qualifier on you no more and be like, oh, he's in the MAC or he's in this, he's in that.
Yeah. That's really what I'm most excited about, is just being able to step on the field with the best of the best and just be able to prove to people that I really play football for real. And it don't matter who's lined up.
I like that. That's the mindset you got to go in with, man, especially if you're going to be great and you're going to be consistently great. You got to go out there and feel like anybody could get it. Right. And so, I mean, it's a bunch of great receivers in the league and different types of receivers. You know, obviously, everybody's like, oh, you got to be 6'2", 6'3" to be a great receiver, and you seeing it done. Tyreek does it different than Devontae. Devontae does it different than Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp does it different than Justin Jefferson. So what kind of receiver are you?
I'm really like, I can't even explain it. Like, I'm my own receiver. So it's like I'm a mixture of like Devontae and AB. That's how I look at it. I'm coming like that.
You're talking crazy. I like it.
Yeah, so it's like I can't explain it and tell you what type of receiver I am, but I definitely pull from everybody's toolbox and just make it my own.
So what makes you who you are? You know what I mean? Like everybody comes up different ways, and everybody has a story about how they got the chip on their shoulder and how they got that dog. You know what I mean? Whether it's just being homeless or being poor or being adopted or being this. You know what I mean? What was your journey? You know what I mean? Walk me through growing up, and what happened to push you to be who you are now.
Honestly, I was never was never homeless. Nothing crazy. Wasn't living a rich life, but I feel like the city, Pittsburgh, just the city culture, like was instilled in me as a young boy to just work. That's just how I do. I just come in, I work. I'm not gonna say too much until I can, and then it's like, I'm not coming in and just doing anything. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna read the room, see who's who, what's going on, just being able to work. And I feel like coming from Pittsburgh is a great environment that teaches you like hard work.
I like that. I've been to Pittsburgh a couple times. It's definitely an industrial, blue-collar city. You know what I mean? But, like, I ain't going to pencil you in. I ain't going to, pigeonhole you into saying a team you want to go to. But is there, like, an offensive system that you look at, a team's offensive system that you're like, man, I could really shine in that system? Because, like you said, y'all, they didn't allow you to show a lot in college. You know what I mean? I'm sure you could do it all. Yeah. But they didn't allow you to really, really show everything because that's what y'all did. You made it work with what you had. But what system really impresses you? You got Kyle Shanahan and McVay, the West Coast system. You got what they're running in Green Bay. You got what they're running in Kansas City. So which system?
I think I feel like you can plug me in a lot of systems and I can get off. So it's like I feel like Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, all the systems where they're known for offense, I feel like I could thrive over there. And it's like I'm like you said, I can do it. I feel like I can do it all. So it really don't matter what system it is.
Yeah, I agree. You got to be able to do it all and be able to do it anywhere. You know what I mean? Is there a city, is there a team you grew up watching, a team that you grew up and you'd be like, man, obviously you're in Pittsburgh. So if you say anything but the Steelers, I'm sure your family going to go crazy. But is there a team that is that your team growing up?
Yeah, that's my team for sure.
Okay. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. They definitely in need of a receiver as well. They lost Juju. They trying to rebuild. They're going to get a quarterback. What round are you expecting to hopefully hear your name called?
Honestly, I feel like it's not in my hands no more, but I'm expecting to go, the first 2 days.
Yeah, that's you should. Because, I mean, you get a feel, I'll say that because I didn't go to the third day, but they kind of let you know that, like, there's a chance you can go here, but it's a long shot if the team grab you. But likely you're going to go the next day. And you never know. This draft get crazy. Yeah. Receivers start rolling early. You may slide into the first. That's how stuff goes. But I appreciate it, man. What else are you doing in this offseason? Because now it's different. You don't got class no more. You got to train like a pro. So what's so different about this offseason compared to the other off seasons you spent?
It's really no off season. That's the difference. It's not an off season. I'm on go all year round. So it's really me. I got to take me. Particularly, I gotta take more care of my body than I've had to in the past. And going through the combine training and the pro day training and everything, training down in Florida with I train with Yo Murphy in Tampa and House of Athlete. They show you all that. So yeah. I'm really just keeping up with that. And that's really like, it's not new to me, but it was the level that they were doing, it was kind of new. And really, yeah, just staying in shape. Just like, I feel like I never got out of shape since the bowl game.
You gotta be careful. Now, I just caution you on this is because this is gonna be the longest year of your life. Your rookie year is your longest year of your life because you get like you just said, you won't go. It ain't no off season. Then the season gonna pop up and it's long. You know what I mean? Now it's 17 games, which is wild. But but it just feel like the longest year of your life. When you get out of the season, after this season, you're going to have to like stay in shape and keep yourself, but don't like, oh, the season ended January 8th and I'm training again on January 21st. Like you do that, you're going to burn out quick in this league. And so you gotta have that balance of like, hey, I worked my tail off the whole season. I stayed locked in. I stayed focused. I did what I had to do. Now I go on me a vacation. I go to Maldives or I go somewhere, you know what I mean? Sit, chill, take a deep breath, and then start working myself back in. I think that's the part that a lot of rookies struggle with because they think, man, I just need to outwork all these dudes. Well, you outwork them throughout the offseason and during the season. You know what I mean? You start working in January. Some teams still playing. Like, you ain't beating nobody.
And what I found out about like the NFL is just like it's a whole bunch more mental than it is physical. I mean, it's still physical, but like the way you get edges on people is how sharp you are mentally. So even the little what you just said, like you gotta take a break. You gotta take a break so you can recharge, basically.
And you gotta, just what you were talking about earlier, like I game plan. I play the game within the game. Like that's a huge part of the league. Like doing that young is gonna be huge because you got to start to understand these coordinators, how they thinking. Oh, on third down, they like to do this. All right. So the defense likes to play this coverage. All right. So I'm gonna be on this side, I'm gonna be at the X. This corner likes to play this leverage. All right, how does he play these routes? How did he play against Devontae? How did he play against this dude? It's going to be different. They play everybody different, you know, because everybody got a different style about them. But once you get to that level, you're going to start playing a whole different game than everybody else. And then getting on the same page as your quarterback.
Yeah. It's
make your money. Make your money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you, though, man. I appreciate you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you joining me and stopping by, man. I just want to get to know you, chop it up for a second before your big day.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. What games you used to play within the game on the field?
Oh, man, I used to deal with the coordinators because I know receivers ain't calling no plays. So I used to always have to understand who I'm playing against. Like if I'm playing against Shanahan, if I'm playing against Schottenheimer, if I'm playing against whoever, I have to understand what they like to do on what part of the field. If they're in a logo and they like to take shots, what shots are those? Is it double post dig? Is it stop and go? Is it double comebacks? Like what plays do they like to run? So in any of those situations throughout the game, I'm always thinking of that. And I always have like an assistant on the sideline because, you know what I mean? You get hit, you get tied, you get this, shoulder hurt, and your brain don't always try to trigger the stuff that you're used to thinking. So I have one of those, and they remind you. So it's like really taking care of yourself, but also taking care of the people around you and making sure you treat them right so that in those situations, they treat you right. When you get into a building, make sure you have a lot of respect for the chefs and the janitors and everybody, because this ain't like college. This ain't like you in and out and you got to go to class, you got to do this. God willing, you're going to be dealing with these people for a long time. And the better you treat them, the better they treat you. Absolutely. The worse you treat them, you're going to kind of have a hard time coming to work every day.
For sure.
So that's all like the equipment guys, like it's so many people in the building that do such a great job that you gotta try your best. The trainers, even when you're having a bad day and you're pissed off, just try to, you know what I mean? What's up? How y'all doing? Like, you know what I mean? Just try not to be the dude that's sitting there being a dick to them because then they gonna start being a dick to you. And then you're gonna find it harder to enjoy yourself. Like you treat people like you're supposed to, you look up and you get the number you want. You look up and get the pads you want, or you want to switch helmets, or I want to switch face masks, or I want these socks every game. And they have no problem doing it because you treat them with respect.
Right. For sure.
The league just be a pro. Be a pro's pro, brother. That's all I'll say is the league is a cool place and you can go change your family's life. It's just the same game you've been playing, but the distractions is different.
Right. Yeah, I can feel that coming.
Right. Yeah. Right. You're going to have a pocket full of money and you got a lot of dreams that you always thought about. Like, man, I always want to buy this. I always want to get this. I always want to have this. That's cool. Yeah. Be careful. Slippery slope.
Right. For sure.
And during the season, try your best not to go out and get too wild. You know, it's hard. It's easier said than done. But you will see what I mean.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else for me?
Nah. That's all I wanted to know. You know how you was living.
Yeah, man. I'm dealing with the coordinators, not the receivers. Every now and then you run into a one-on-one situation where you got to deal with Julio and AJ, and it's just
who the best receiver you went against?
Probably Megatron, Julio, one of them in their prime. Megatron is 6'6", running 4'2", and moving like he 5'10". You know what I mean? And people built like that. Sitting there.
You won't find them no more.
No, you ain't finding them. If they do, I'm glad I'm out the league. Y'all, somebody else can deal with this. But them dudes is, but again, like everybody, like he ain't calling the play. So the advantage I could have is that, hey, if I can recognize this formation, this situation, and then I can figure out the play, I don't care how good he is, I can beat him to the spot.
Right.
I know what you're running.
You guarding him, but you know what he wants. You know, you got an idea of what you're running.
Right. So he's sitting there like people like, oh, he locking him up. I'm not really locking him up. I'm locking the play they called up because it didn't really matter what he did at this point.
Right.
And so you run into dudes though that Julio, Devontae at the line of scrimmage is a monster. It's stress, it's anxiety. You got to deal with him play in and play out because you could beat him for 58 plays and he gets you for 2 in this game.
Right.
That's corner.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's a mental game. It's a game of chess when you're doing it right. And I hope you get to that level and you get to shine and show everybody that you're one of the best receivers out there.
Absolutely. No doubt.
No doubt. I appreciate you, brother. Keep training hard and good luck in a couple of days.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talk soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Keep the traffic.